Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm having a great day today, and it was pretty good. I did a lot of things. Went outside. It was quite sunny, chilling out in the sun, and doing a lot of walking. Recently, I've been managed to go swimming in a lake. I love to swim in the lakes. It's pretty good, and just to go outside and do some fun stuff. I recommend you guys always go outside. Don't stay huddled in your house. Don't let these gang stalkers defeat you and prevent you from leaving your house and doing the things that you want to do. So take advantage of the summer right now and have a little bit of fun. Because having fun is really important because if you see that life is some kind of battlefield or war zone, which it technically is, especially if you're being gang stalked, then you are. These gang stalkers are declaring war against you. So basically, the government who is sending all these people and paying them to do this to you, the government it has declared war on you. It's a psychological war against you. So of course, to always have like good spirits when you're fighting in a war, to keep the good spirits, you have to sometimes do things for fun. Something that can allow you to get spiritual energy. Sex is a good way to get that energy, but there are many, many ways. Eating healthy food, going outside, go for a little jog. I mean, I don't recommend people to go jogging, but whatever, some kind of athletic or physical activity, swimming. If you're into calisthenics, I do calisthenics a little bit sometimes. Go do some barbecue or light some fires or something like that in the wild, whatever it is. All right, so got an interesting topic here today, which is bullying. Of course, bullying is a big part of gang stalking. What is bullying? Bullying is the use of force, coercion, hurtful teasing, or threat to abuse, aggressively dominate, or intimidate. The behavior is often repeated and habitual. One essential prerequisite is a perception by the bully or others of an imbalance of physical or social power. The imbalance distinguishes bullying from conflict. Bullying is a subcategory of aggressive behavior characterized by hostile intent, imbalance of power, and repetition over a period of time. So this is practically a default, sort of de facto definition of bullying. And of course, it's very much applicable to what is happening in gang stalking. If you are being gang stalked, then you are technically being bullied. Although the issue that you're suffering from with the gang stalking is a little bit more complicated than just mere bullying, because technically what you are suffering from is a form of extreme bullying. So this is not just regular bullying. Somebody can be bullied in school. Maybe you go to school and you're getting bullied by a group of people that don't like you. Maybe there's like a clique of like 5 or 6 people that just don't like you and they're constantly attacking you and that kind of stuff. But when you're being gang stalked, it's literally you're at war with the world. It's really funny. This phrase actually reminds me of ASPD. I don't know if you guys know what ASPD is. It's called antisocial personality disorder, which means sociopathy. So it's people who are antisocial. Typically think that way, that they're like at war with the world. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're being gang stalked, then you're technically at war with the world. And I think you just have to accept that part as being the truth. You can't deny the truth. Now, of course, there's maybe a lot of people that might be slightly neutral towards you, as in they're not necessarily against you, but they can manipulate. The government has a lot of resources, and they can manipulate a lot of people against you. So I would always assume, my default assumption is that technically anybody that I meet is one of these gang stalkers. I always assume this by default. Especially if I see some weird behavior happening, then I know for a fact, like, this motherfucker is definitely one of them. So, back to the topic. Gave a definition of bullying, and you notice something, which is, it said it's the use of, force and coercion to threaten and aggressively dominate and threaten and intimidate someone. And it says something in the definition, which I find to be quite interesting, which is that usually the abuser or the bully perceives that the individual being targeted is either inferior physically or socially. Now, I think most of our cases, because the nature of the attacks against us are not really physical, I don't think that the bullies, or let's say the gang stalkers, um, I don't think that the gang stalkers are see us as being inferior to them physically, because they don't usually attempt to attack me physically, and I'm pretty bulky and stout. Um, I would be quite interested if they ever attempted to touch me, because I would knock them the fuck out. But yeah, but I think it's more the social aspect. So definitely, if you're being gang stalked, they do perceive you, and probably rightfully so, that you are socially inferior, meaning that you don't have the social connections and social powers that a lot of these people have. And that's the reason why you don't have any protection against these people, especially because they can manipulate people around you, and the government is sending these people against you. And it's a very, very large group of people who are working in tandem together to mob you. And now, since I mentioned the word mob, mobbing is quite interesting. Mobbing describes definitely what is happening to us in terms of gang stalking. But what is mobbing? Well, mobbing is just bullying, which is being carried out by a group of people. So if there's 10 or 20 people mobbing some lone individual, that would be called mobbing. So it's like bullying, but done by a group of people instead of one single person. Right. So of course, if you're dealing with gang stalking, as you know, then you're definitely being mobbed. And not only you're being mobbed, the worst part of it is that you're actually being mobbed by everyone. So everyone is working together to mob you, to attack you, and try to destroy you. And of course, because you are much, much, much stronger than these people, because of course, had you been a weak individual, had you been weak, they would not have needed to gather such a large amount of people to come after you and try to take you down. The fact that they're using such a huge, almost psychotic number of people to come after you is kind of proof that you are definitely stronger than them. So as such, I always think that you have to figure out a way to defeat these people and win. Because, you can't always just be taking the L, take the L on this, take the L on that. Sometimes you have to get the W, right? You have to win instead of losing. So it is what it is. Now, I want to talk about something which is mobbing and how it relates to some of the effects it might have on people. For example, there was a study that showed that 15% of suicides that happen in the country of Sweden did occur actually because of workplace mobbing. So apparently there's a lot of people committing suicide because of workplace mobbing. And of course, workplace mobbing is becoming recognized as something that does occur quite a lot all over the world. And I think most people are starting to realize just how toxic and negative these work environments are becoming. This is one of the reasons why I recommend, if you're a TI, definitely going to work is not going to help you. You're going to get mobbed pretty severely at work. It's not, it is not going to work out for you the way that you think, because you already have been singled out. And any job that you get, they will already know who you are, and they already have a policy against you. They have a policy of how to behave with you. So when you go and work there, they're just gonna, you're gonna notice that even from this first freaking day, these people you don't even know, and you're like literally just gonna go there and shake their hands, get to know them, and they're already going to be very, very, very hostile towards you. So that's quite problematic. And I can talk a little bit about some of the experiences that I had when I did manage to go work for like a year. That was at a company, and I was in 2018. From 2018 to 2019, I worked my ass off like a donkey. Um, did manage to keep the job, although I was being mobbed by everybody, but I definitely kept the job. Everybody was seemingly quite hostile and aggressive towards me. The usual that you would expect with the gang stalking, the trash talking. They will trash talk you. Your colleagues will definitely be trash talking. I mean, that's what happened to me. They were trash talking me, constant gossiping about me, saying negative things about me, laughing about me, behind my back or sometimes even to my face. Just really negative, fucking toxic behavior. I remember one day, because we had to manage these projects, and I had to lead one of these projects, as in to figure out all the different steps and things that were required to get the project done for the clients. Because that requires a lot of management and thinking about, the steps that you're going to take and what's required and what's not required, things that you have to contact the client for to ask them about this and this and that. And of course, as we were sitting there and I'm trying to manage this project, and in the meeting, suddenly, my manager, she just started shouting at the top of her voice, and she was like, she's just being very negative about everything and trying to like find a way to bring down my project, so to speak, or to sabotage it in some way. And she wasn't even hiding anything. Like, she was doing this pretty obviously, pretty overtly. And then she started shouting, and then she looked at the people around her, and she was like, hey guys, am I the only one who's gonna be a bitch to him? Come on, guys, let's all attack him. Like, literally, guys, like this. This is what it has come to. Like, in your fucking face, just flat out in the open. Like, am I the only one who's gonna be a bitch to him? Come on, guys, join in and attack him. And it just shows you that there is no no management, no control in these places. Like, anybody can just do anything they want and get away with it. Like, there's no fucking how do you say it? Because there used to be a long time ago, at least I remember, that if you worked at a company and you started misbehaving in some kind of obvious way, there would definitely be punitive measures. There would be some kind of punitive measure. Be like, you could get labeled with things like misconduct or gross misconduct. This kind of stuff, that like if you start misbehaving with your colleagues and people and creating a bad environment for the people to work at, the management of the company will call you in to have a chat with you and be like, hey, what you just did is like really, really bad behavior, and this is considered according to our company policy to be a misconduct or a gross misconduct, and if you keep repeating this, you will be fired, you will lose your job. That used to be the case, but now there is no control over anything. So this woman, this manager, she could just shout, literally, openly, flat out brag or gloat about the fact that she's trying to bring down my project and being a nasty bitch to me. And not only that, but trying to recruiting people to come and attack me. And no consequences. And yeah, I mean, the behavior with the colleagues is pretty like weird and very inappropriate and very unacceptable behavior. But then, what I found to be really, really weird at the same time was that I was constantly getting very strong sexual IOIs and innuendos from people about, like the women wanting to have sex with me and that kind of stuff, which I found to be quite weird. I mean, like if these people are like fucking mobbing you, and then they want to have sex. Like, I don't understand the duplicity that somebody can have to think that way. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's enough about that. So workplace mobbing is definitely something that happens, and of course, if you're a targeted individual, I do recommend definitely look into solitary jobs. If you're really intent on having a job, do look into solitary jobs. Look into jobs that maybe you can maybe you can drive for like to be like a truck driver doing deliveries and that kind of stuff. You just have to be pretty much working by yourself all the time, and then that's a pretty decent job. It pays pretty good as well. I mean, you could get like $3,000 per month very easily, and you just be having to, you just have to kind of drive your truck around from place to place doing deliveries, and once in a while have to stop at an auto stop and maybe sleep for a couple of hours. So it's not very complicated, but yeah. But so yeah, definitely what we are dealing with in gangstalking is definitely some type of bullying, and it's definitely bullying on steroids, except that it is actually being, it is definitely something that the government is doing, and the government is recruiting people to come and mob you. And of course, there are many ways that you can resist the gang stalking, because you guys know that I talked about the topic of baiting. Baiting is quite important to understand what baiting is. So try, guys, no matter what happens in the gang stalking, don't take things personally. Do not take things personally, because they're constantly trying to provoke you. They're constantly trying to bait you. And they consider that once you take the bait, as in when they deliberately bait you, when they deliberately provoke you, intentionally provoke you, and you get angry and provoked because you want to stand up for yourself and stand up for your rights, they would actually consider that they have won. So they have won, they have defeated you, because you got provoked, and now you're going to look angry and aggressive. People around, that's going to be used an excuse, because they're going to say, whoa, look at this guy. He's violent, he's crazy, he's aggressive, he's a bigot. And probably what they will do as well, they bait you and then wait for you to get provoked. When you get provoked, then they're going to call the police or have somebody else call the police. And then the police going to come, and then they're going to lie and going to say, oh, actually, he was being aggressive and violent for no reason. They're going to act innocent. They're going to say, I didn't do nothing to him. He was just, getting aggressive and violent and belligerent by himself. And basically to try to get you in trouble. Don't take the bait. Ignore all those provocations. Don't take it personally. Look at it more as a tactic. It's nothing personal. It's just a tactic being used to provoke you and get you to do something stupid and violent, and then call the police. And that way you would have to, you would end up in jail or end up in some kind of legal problems or whatever problems. Maybe you have to pay a fine, or maybe you have to, whatever it is. So if you want to, it's perfectly fine and dandy if you want to fight back against the cowards. If you want to, if you want to fight back against these cowards, if you want to take revenge, if you want to get even, so to speak, against the gang stalkers, that is not a problem. However, you have to do it in such a way. You have to do it in such a way that is couched. All right, guys? You can get back at them all you want. You can seek revenge all you want. Remember, they are the ones declaring war on you. So they shouldn't be surprised that you are going to retaliate, right? Because if they're declaring war on you, you have the right to retaliate against them. So they shouldn't be surprised, if you want to attack them back the same way they're attacking you. You know what I mean? But as long as you do it in such a way that you don't get caught, as in you do it in such a way that is not going to get you into trouble with the police, as long as you do it in such a way that you are not going to go to jail or you're not going to have problems with the law or the police. If you can find out a way to do that, to get back at that person in a way that is either legal, or if you are willing to do something to these people as vengeance in an illegal fashion, don't get caught. Don't get caught. Do it in such a way that you're not going to get caught. Because you want to get back at them and you have the right to get back at them, and that's absolutely fine. However, don't get caught. Don't get into trouble with the law, because you don't need to have trouble with the law or the police or anybody. That's the way it is. Because 9 times out of 10, if they're coming deliberately to provoke you in public and you take the bait and then you get, start confronting them and shouting and flailing your arms around and becoming aggressive, and maybe that starts out with some kind of verbal conflict or whatever, and then it leads into some actual physical conflict. Of course, these things can definitely escalate. And either way, they are going to win, because remember, it's the entire society which is against you, and they're in it together, probably even the police. So if, when it comes down to them calling the police and that kind of stuff, don't think that the police is going to help you. Don't think that the police is going to stand by you and by your rights, or to stand by your side. They won't. They won't. They're gonna be against you, and they're gonna side with the gangstalker. They're gonna side with the person that was provoking you. So don't think that because you're being gangstalked, don't assume that you have any rights or equal rights or footing as the other people, because you don't. You do not have the same equal rights as the gangstalkers and the other people who are doing this to you. So that's the way it is. So what we're dealing with in terms of gangstalking is definitely, it's a form of bullying. And we've seen the definition of bullying. We looked into the definition of what bullying is. It's an extreme form of bullying, and it's also a form of mobbing, meaning a bullying perpetrated by a group of people against one single isolated individual. All right, guys. I hope that you guys learned something new from this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys in the next one.